Hi everyone, let me show you how to prepare a book for Japanese stab binding. What you'll want to do is to come prepared with a text block. There are 12 pages in here of text paper, and then cover stock for the covers on both sides. And if you have a textured cover stock like I do, make sure that the same texture is on the outside on both sides. And you can either take a pencil and a ruler and mark where you're going to sew on this text block, or you can prepare, what I like to do is prepare a template, like a pre-punched template. You can see there's some holes already punched in here. And I'm going to use this as my punching template so that I don't need to make any marks on the cover. So what I'm going to do is line it all up, all the pages together with this template card. And I'm actually going to show you two different methods of punching holes. One way is to use clamps to hold this all together. And then if you have an awl, what you can do is punch through the pre-punched holes in your template. And what you'll want to do is actually punch through the entire text block, cover, paper, and all of it all at once. So take care not to accidentally punch your fingers. Take your time. This is not really an ideal method, but it works if you don't have any other tools. Make sure you're holding it very tight as you punch through. And I give it a little bit of a wiggle just to give that a little bit more space for sewing later on. When you pull it out, you should see a pretty nice clean hole. But you'll notice one of the reasons this is not an ideal method is, first, you can only do this through a very thin book, because otherwise, of course, it's too thick to punch through. But the second problem is that you can see a little bit, do you see that little volcano? I call it a volcano because what happens is when you push the awl through all of that paper, it basically pushes material up. And so it gives a little lift of material. So I'm going to show you one more time how that works. Just go ahead and push. I'm going to put my fingers on either side this time. I'm holding it really tight and I'm punching it through the entire text block very slowly and carefully until it comes all the way through. And then I give the awl a little bit of a twist to widen that hole for sewing. When you pull it out, you should see a pretty nice hole, but again, there's a little volcano there. And what you can do is after you sew, you can use a bone folder and kind of push those edges down a little bit, and it'll flatten it back out again. Another way that you could punch a text block by either one that's thicker, or to avoid these, is by using a drill, a hand drill. So I'm going to set these aside. I'll set this text block aside, and I'll get a new text block to show you how to work with a hand drill. So for a hand drill, you're going to need something like a phone book is what I usually use to punch into. You'll need your same text block and template, punching template, lined up all together. And what I want to do is clamp this all down together on the edge of a table so that I can then drill through the entire text block at once. And what you'll want to do is get one of these small clamps. The way this works is there's a bottom button. If you press that, you can slide this whole arm up and down. And once you've slid it into the right place, you'll use this little clamp here to sort of tighten it. Can you see how it kind of tightens as you're pressing? So what you'll do is clamp it in place in two spots. I'm going to go ahead and set it down. Clamp here, and of course don't clamp on top of one of those holes. So again, use the bottom lever to slide this, and once you get it in place, you'll use the upper lever to kind of clamp it really nice and tight. So I'm going to slide it up and then clamp it nice and tight. And just make sure that all of your pages are lined up correctly before you start drilling. I like to use these hand drills. They're pretty handy to have at a bindery. I'm going to show you real quick how to put a drill bit in. And I have a drill bit that came with it. You can get these at most craft stores. So what you want to do is first hold the handle steady. Let's see, how do I do this? I'm going to hold it with this hand. You want to hold this handle steady so it doesn't move. And then you're going to twist this top. And you'll see this kind of open up, this three-prong kind of gap open up. And that creates space for a drill bit to go inside. And then you'll tighten it back up again. And of course, when you turn this, one of the reasons I'm holding this handle is if you turn this, the handle wants to turn and then you can't tighten it. So you want to hold this handle nice and tight while you turn this top to make sure it really clamps in place. So now we have a smallish drill bit. I think it's maybe about an 1/8 inch drill bit in place. And what we want to do is drill straight down into the text block, again, through those holes that are pre-punched in the template. And I'm giving it just a little bit of pressure, and I'm cranking it. Make sure you go straight down, especially if you use a tiny drill bit. There's a tendency to want to wobble right here, and you can break the drill bit if it's really tiny and delicate. All the way in, and then you're going to keep cranking it as you pull the drill bit back up. Go ahead and do that on all of those holes. Crank it down and crank it back up. And you don't necessarily have to go all the way down as long as you know that you've gone through the entire book block. Remember, use this bottom lever to release the clamp. Shake off some of this excess, and you'll see that with this method, you've created some really nice clean holes that don't have that volcano in the back. It's really nice and smooth all the way around and very clean. And that's because the drill bit is actually removing the material. Instead of just pushing it to the other side, it's actually removing material from the text block as you're creating the hole. So now you have a text block that's ready for stab binding.